Pista, in Italian, it means track. And that's the name for this version of the 488 Ferrari. It's the Ferrari 488 Pista, and I'm going to drive it at the Pista di Fiorano. Well, Pista is all about driving it on a track. It's a very track-focused car. It's more extreme, more power, it's lighter. So if the 488 GTB wasn't quick enough for you, this car certainly is going to be. And I'm going to drive it around Fiorano to tell you how tasty this Pista-flavored Ferrari is. For starters, the Pista has the most powerful V8 seen in a Ferrari yet. This twin-turbo unit produces a colossal 720 horsepower. That's a hefty increase over the 488 GTB 670 horsepower. And torque too is up by 9 mm to 770 Newton meters. But it's not just the power that makes it brutally fast. It's lighter too by around 90 kilos. And Ferrari has used all its motorsport experience to upgrade the aerodynamics and handling. It's a pity the prototype disguise doesn't allow us to see the Pista in all its beauty. The distinguishing fat stripe that runs from nose to tail is covered, but you can't miss the changes to the body, which shows all the wind tunnel work that's been done on it. Response is a word that gets redefined when you drive the Pista. Off the line, it leaps forward with the tiniest flex of your right ankle, and you can control the progressive throttle with millimetric precision. The Pista's rib-crushing acceleration just takes my breath away, and it took me half a lap of Fiorano to adjust to the ferocity of power. The engine revs so fast that the shift lights on the steering wheel are constantly illuminated. The acceleration, it's just brutal. But what's amazing is how easy this car is to drive, even on a track. Ooh, but the speed, it's just ridiculous. This is insane. And it feels so balanced, so neutral. And out of these corners, I'm just rocketing away. It's just mental, the speed. Oof. This is unreal, unreal. The handling is so balanced, it's so neutral, and the Pista clings to the tarmac like a thirsty leech. The chassis electronics have been honed to give you even more driving pleasure, and the way you can put the tail out in CT off driving mode makes you feel like a real hero. The engine is ear-splittingly loud and is a part of the Pista's appeal. But being a turbocharged engine, it doesn't have the same soulful, high-pitched scream of previous non-turbo Ferraris, and that's a shame. I must mention the new Michelin Sport Cup 2 tires, which have been developed specifically for the Pista. Apart from the terrific grip they offer, it's the compliance of the tires that surprised me on a brief drive in the Italian countryside outside Fiorano. Now, a tire's sidewalls are the first line of defense over sharp edges and ruts, and I was amazed at how well the Michelins, with their rubber band thin profile, coped with some of the poorly paved surfaces. In fact, the short loop around Maranello also showed us how user-friendly the Pista is. The ride is firm, but it's not brittle, and the gear shifts are nicely smoothened out in auto mode. What a day it's been, and I can emphatically say that the Pista is the most engaging and involving Ferrari I have ever driven. It makes you feel like one with the car, like you're melded to it. It's a worthy successor to the brilliant track specials Ferrari has made before it, and one of the finest driving machines you can buy, period.
Stay tuned. On the other side of this break, it's another super quick car, the Audi RS5. The newest member of Audi's brat pack is here, the Audi RS5. Now we saw the Sportback, we saw the convertible, and we now have the coupe styling. I really love this coupe styling of this car. I think it's truly a handsome car. But looks apart, even its predecessor was a coupe, and we loved that RS5 for all that it was. Will we like this one even better is what we've got to find out. With a car like this, spending time to stand and stare is understandable. But the joy is really in being behind the wheel. I wish I had a racetrack to go wild on, but I'm confined to the outskirts of Mumbai where the traffic is thinner and the roads emptier to figure this new car out. Dial this car into comfort mode, be gentle with the throttle, and you could be fooled into thinking this is an everyday sedan. Put your foot down slightly harder and you'll be surprised as to how quickly this car reels the cars in front of you in. And you think you're cruising along and then you look down at the speedometer and suddenly you're doing triple-digit speeds. I keep having to pull myself back. Despite the holiday season, it still takes a while to get out of our city traffic, and as I nip in and out of gaps, I make smooth progress. The size and agility of the RS5 make it effortless. Of course, the city roads are strewn with rough patches and potholes, and here too the Audi deals with it with surprising ease. You'll be quite surprised at the ride. It's pliant, it's supple. In fact, it's really good as far as sports cars go. It's a hot day as well, 42 degrees outside, and the AC works efficiently to cool the car down instantly, and I'm comfortable. Okay, so looks like I'm going to be getting out of the city traffic onto an open stretch of road. Time to shift it into dynamic. Yeah, but here's the problem. The button's on the passenger side, so it makes it a bit tougher to get to. I have to take my eyes off the road, but luckily there's a shortcut on the steering that lets me change the drive mode, and that is much easier. Under the hood of the RS5 is a new 2.9-litre twin-turbo V6. Yes, it's the same engine that's used in the Porsche Panamera S and the Cayenne S, but it's new to the RS5. Power remains 450 HP, which is the same as the previous engine, but where the big jump is in the 170 Nm more of torque. Once you get an open stretch, you get a good feel of that difference. Well, I have it in dynamic. I'm on a more open stretch of road, and that's what I'm talking about. Pin your foot to the floor, and this car is quick. It just flies. Audi claim a 3.9 second 0 to 100, and our test figures threw up a 4.09 second time. So there's no doubting its abilities. Forget numbers, it's just the way it feels out on the road that's quite enthralling. In comfort, it will whisk you to cruising speeds in a mask of refinement. And in dynamic, it makes everything sharper and instantaneous. Flicking through the paddles on a nice winding section of road makes the drive all that much more fun. Shifts come quick and fast. And in dynamic mode, the exhaust does get a little more sound and feel to it. It's not quite as raucous as its competitors, but it still gives you the feeling. What comes to light on a winding section though is that the steering doesn't quite feel like it's meant to be in a focused performance car. A little more feedback and bite would have been better. However, this is a quattro, and that ensures that you're absolutely connected to the road at all times. The all-wheel drive system puts the power exactly where you want it, and levels of grip are really quite incredible. You could push this car, and even the most worried of drivers will feel absolutely confident in it. It feels a lot more playful and willing to change direction than the previous RS5. And it's got a good set of brakes too, slows you down as as quick as you want, so it gives you the confidence to enjoy the speed of this car as well. Finally, it's time to stop, stay still, and let the adrenaline levels come down a little. And take a look at how the new RS is different. It gets an additional trim, which include blackened headlamp and tail lamp shells, and an inset gloss black grille with Quattro emblazoned on the lip. There are also some incredible looking 20-inch chrome alloy wheels, although they're optional and the 19-inch wheels are standard. And as ever, there's an accentuated diffuser which houses two massive oval tailpipes. There's a black clip to the boot and the muscular RS wheel arch extensions. What really makes this a good looker is the sharply raked roof. Despite the aggressive kitting, there is an undeniable elegance to this car. Inside, things are far less dramatic and it's all but identical to any of the other A5s or even an A4. You get a flat-bottom steering wheel and a racier layout for the virtual cockpit digital dials like the S5 Sportback. What's new are the front seats, which are thicker and better bolstered than the S5s. They also offer every possible adjustment and even a massage function. However, the chunky front seats take up so much space, the rear buckets offer almost no legroom. I'm short and I can just about manage. However, the large rear windows ensure that you don't feel hemmed in. Little gizmos like the plastic arm that offer you your seatbelt at the front are great features. So after having spent the whole day with the RS5, I can say I've come away quite pleased. I began by cutting through the city and there I found that it was really easy to drive and it kept me surprisingly comfortable for a sports car. It cruised well out on the highway and then when I found an open stretch of road with twisty windy sections, I had a whole load of fun with it. Now, it may not be as involving or adrenaline pumping as some other sports cars, but hey, this car has loads of grip, it is really quick, and yet it's comfortable too, so it's nicely rounded and balanced. At a Craw 10, it's also about 20 to 30 lakhs cheaper than its rivals, and that makes it really interesting to look at, especially if you want that kind of car that you can take out to the track on Sunday and yet be comfortable driving to work on Monday. If you prefer two wheels over four, stay tuned. On the other side of this break, it's a comparison between the TVS Apache RTR and the Suzuki Gixxer SP.
Once upon a time, Suzuki and TVS were the best of friends, and then they weren't. Together, they produced some truly memorable motorcycles, but the dream run soon came to an end. Today, their fierce rivalry has resulted in these two motorcycles you see here, the Suzuki Gixxer and the TVS Apache RTR 164V. By the look of it, there isn't going to be truce between these two anytime soon.
One long look at either motorcycle will tell you exactly why. Looking cool is fundamental to this segment of motorcycles, and both the Gixxer and the Apache have much to offer in this aspect. While the Gixxer is decidedly urban, the Apache gives away its racetrack aspirations quite effortlessly. The equipment list on either machine is similar as well, with both offering a digital meter console, a conventional handlebar, and a single-piece seat. A disc at either end is also standard, and so is a monoshock.
Both of these motorcycles are stylish and highly appealing, but it's the TVS Apache that has a slight edge in this department. Its design, borrowed from the bigger RTR 200, is cleaner and racier, and it definitely looks terrific in this two-tone shade. The Gixxer is the older design of the two, but it's still funky enough. It's got great proportions and is built as well as the Apache, if not better. However, this SP variant, with its two-tone paint finish, chrome-heavy exhaust, and unimaginative decals, isn't quite fashionable. I think the Gixxer deserves to age more gracefully.
This is, without a doubt, a performance-driven segment, so let's get to the numbers, starting with the Gixxer. Its 154cc motor hasn't exactly led the segment from the front, but it's lovable anyway. The 2-valve motor, paired to a 5-speed gearbox, produces 14.8 HP at 8000 RPM and 14 Nm of torque at 6000 RPM, and offers a generous amount of tractability as well. It's only on the highway that the Gixxer begins to feel inadequate, demanding commitment and perseverance past the 90 kph mark. In the city and in moderately fast twisty bits, there's still nothing as charming as the Gixxer would.
The Gixxer's motor is just so much fun. Its peppy low end is great in the city, and with it, you'll never have a dull moment. It isn't as potent out on the highway though, and it could do with some more overall refinement as well.
In comparison, the Apache's motor is quite the opposite. Its 159cc 4-valve motor boasts segment-leading numbers, 16.5 HP at 8000 RPM and 14.8 Nm of torque at 6500 RPM. But that's not the only reason behind its resurrection as a worthy contender in this segment. Apart from being very well-mannered, the RTR's motor is fast but undemanding, although aggressive riding will introduce you to vibrations between 6000 to 7500 RPM. Past this, the RTR continues to build up speed and it feels more comfortable doing so all the way to its red line.
The Apache is mature and grown up in its responses. It's refined to a seriously impressive degree, and the crisp, light throttle makes it calming no matter how fast you want to go. While it is a little numb in the city, it is the better bike on the highway out of the two.
You wouldn't be watching this if you didn't have a thing or two for fun but practical motorcycles, and it's here that their rivalry reaches a crescendo. The Gixxer seats you almost upright, and thanks to its 135 kg curb weight and shorter wheelbase, it feels laugh-out-loud flickable in the city. It's a natural in the corners, helped not just by its inherently agile chassis, but also by its grippy and substantial tires. The Apache's riding position is more committed thanks to the lower handlebar, and it is the more serious cornering machine too, and that's saying something because we love the way the Gixxer attacks corners. While its 145 kg curb weight and relatively longer wheelbase make it seem less frantic, the Apache comes across as precise and predictable with the confidence of a much bigger machine than it actually is.
Fun isn't bound by a rigid definition, and there's no bigger example of this than these two motorcycles here. While the Gixxer, being lighter, is more flickable, it's the Apache that is more composed and precise around corners. The Gixxer's suspension is firmer than the Apache's, and while that's great for cornering, it's not as good over a commute. The Apache's pliant suspension, on the other hand, is one of the highlights of its package, and that makes it great for everyday commuting, especially with the pillion. The RTR has the better brakes of the two. However, you should know this. Suzuki is soon going to launch an ABS variant of the Gixxer. While that will translate to a price hike, it is going to be a worthwhile investment.
Speaking of worthwhile investments, the twin-disc carbureted SP version of the Gixxer is priced at 81,926 rupees ex-showroom Delhi, and that money gets you a fun, well-built motorcycle which is better than every other motorcycle in its segment, except the TVS Apache. While the Apache is a sliver more expensive, priced at 84,490 rupees for the twin-disc carbureted version, it also does everything a little bit better. It's more contemporary and, crucially, more practical as well. And most of all, it manages to be fun when you want it and calm when you don't.
The Apache has proven itself to be better in almost every aspect, but that doesn't make the Gixxer a bad motorcycle at all. Its ability to be hugely entertaining with great styling and features makes it a highly desirable motorcycle even today. The Apache, on the other hand, is the more contemporary and evolved overall package of the two, and that's what makes it the winner of this test. Truce, whose idea was it anyway?
Welcome to Autocar Confidential, the part of the show where we tell you something you may not know about the car industry. Now we know Mitsubishi has been working hard to get the Outlander to India, but it just isn't the Outlander. They have something special up their sleeve, and the project we hear has just begun. It's called the PHEV. Now of course PHEV stands for Plug-in Hybrid Electric Vehicle, and this electric motor equipped 2-liter Outlander has a combined horsepower of 203. It's a powerful vehicle, it will be fun to drive because it's a Mitsubishi, it has that sporty sort of tilt, and what you can do is you can also charge it at home. It's an electric, you can charge at home, of course that's why they call it a PHEV. Now 6.5 hours will get you a full charge, and if you drive it only in EV mode, you get a range of around 50 kilometers, which is pretty impressive. What's also hugely impressive is the claimed fuel economy. It's about in the region of 58 kilometers a liter. Of course, the electric charge in the batteries helps you get that efficiency, but all in all, this seems like an extremely exciting vehicle. Of course, the downside is that it will be a bit more expensive than even the Outlander, which at 32 lakhs is already pushing it a bit. This one should be around 35 lakhs or thereabouts, and that's because it's going to be imported directly from Japan. If you're interested in a plug-in hybrid, a vehicle you can use as an electric for most of the week, this Mitsubishi could just be the ticket. For more such news and scoops, be sure to keep watching the Autocar Show.